with Saturday's huge showdown at the World Cup. England against the reigning champions France in the quarter-finals. Kyle Walker is the man with the rather unenviable task of stopping perhaps the most feared player in the world right now, Kylian Mbappe. But the Manchester City fullback is far from worried. He's backed himself to keep him quiet and stressed that this match is not just about one battle.
Interesting thing for me is Kyle Walker, because Kyle Walker to me looks like he's lost a yard. He got run a couple of times by Senegalese players, which made me think, hang on a second, is he as quick as we now think he is? Because he's coming back from being not playing that many games. So it's going to be an interesting one, because if Kyle Walker's been put in the side to nullify, to be the kryptonite to Mbappe, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know, we'll see.
Sure.
You'll almost certainly have the responsibility of marking Kylian Mbappe, who a lot of people feel is the best player in the world right now. But you've come up against him in the past for City against PSG in the Champions League. How do your experiences against him in the past help you when you're trying to prepare for a battle like that?
Obviously, it's always going to help because I've played against him, a number of times now, as you just said, with Manchester City and PSG. But just as well as what you've just said, he's a fantastic player in great form. So it's not going to be an easy task, but it's one that, as a professional footballer, you want to play against the best. And as you just said, I think he's, one of the best, if not the best in the world at the minute.
I mean, it sounds ridiculous. Do you think England will go some way to trying to nullify him?
Yeah, well, I think when you look at England, you've got Kyle Walker who will probably play there. And to be honest, I think Kyle Walker's probably the best right back around. Obviously, you've got Trent and Reece who are fantastic on the ball, and they can do everything going forward. But you look at Kyle Walker's attributes in terms of defending. He's an unbelievable 1v1 defender, and he's probably just as quick as Mbappe. So that'll be a very good battle, which I'm really looking forward to watch, actually. But as I said, I don't really need to give Kyle Walker any tips on how to defend him. He's played against him many times, and he knows what to do. So, as I said, I'm looking forward to watching that battle, yeah.
You've won 4 Premier League titles, you've won an FA Cup, you've played in a Champions League final. This is a quarter-final in a World Cup against the reigning world champions. How does that compare? It's pretty special, isn't it?
Yeah, to play in a quarter-final of a World Cup is always going to be special. I think it's obviously a little bit more special when it's against France, the reigning world champions. So it's going to be a very tough game, which we know, and we're fully waiting for, with excitement.
Who do you see coming out on top? I know I'm leading you into a question there because you've got to come back to England, but...
Yeah, no, well, it's hard to say who's going to come out on top, because if Mbappe's on form and if Kyle Walker's on form, it's going to be a really good battle. And if one's on it and one's not, then it could be the other way. So you just never know in football. That's football. There's loads of different, as you said, as you know, football's a really weird, strange game at times. So yeah, it's just on the day. I think Kyle Walker, as I said, he's fantastic at 1v1 defending, and Mbappe's biggest attribute is running at players and beating them 1v1. So I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah.
Matthew.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you.
Hi, Carl. Alex, BBC. Do you understand the focus on your battle with Mbappe, and how would you deal with the pressure of that?
Do I understand the focus? Of course I do. I play football, so I do understand what I need to do, and that's obviously to stop him. It's probably easier said than done, but I don't underestimate myself. As we've just said there, I've played him before. And I've come against a lot of great players, in my time playing for England and also Man City and the clubs that I played for. So I have to treat it as another game. I have to take, obviously, extra care and give him the respect he deserves, but not too much respect, because he's also playing England, and, we can cause them problems. Okay, it's going to be a tough game, but not one player makes a team.
From the outside looking in, we speak about it all the time, but is it something you speak about as players when there's so much focus on a particular battle?
No, I think the game's not England v Mbappe. The game's England v France. As I just said there, we take respect that he's a good player in good form at the minute, but I'm not going to roll out a red carpet for him and tell him to go and score. I'm representing my country at a quarter-final of a World Cup, so it's do or die, really. If we lose, we go home, and he's not going to stand in my way, and hopefully winning, a World Cup for my country.
I've seen your teammates at Man City mess around with your FIFA card before about your pace. Who do you think is quicker?
We'll hopefully see on Saturday if I'm chosen. Who knows?
I hope to goodness you don't lose your luggage on the way back from Dubai, because am I right in thinking you're coming back with Messi's shirt and Mbappe's shirt?
Yeah, well, I've got hand luggage here, so from Qatar to Dubai, I've made sure that them shirts are right with me. Put them in the safe in the hotel room as well. Yeah, it'll be in the hand luggage with me. It won't be going under, definitely not.
Brilliant. Again, just to finish with it sounds strange, but Alaska, in the matter of weeks you've been away, do you feel a much more experienced player coming back to Villa in the Premier League?
Yeah, I feel definitely. As I said, playing against them sort of players is really good, and obviously them sort of teams as well. We played against Argentina, France, Mexico. They're a fantastic side. So for me personally, yeah, I've gained so much experience and so many different learning curves really in the last couple of weeks. So I'm sure when I get back to Villa, it'll benefit me massively. Yeah, 100%.
And one of the regular questions we asked before the World Cup began was, how do you feel about a World Cup in the middle of a season? So how do you feel about returning to the Premier League from a World Cup?
Yeah, to be honest, I think over there the setup was unbelievable. I think the way it was all set up was actually really good. But as you say, yeah, it's obviously different having a break in the middle of the season, and having a holiday in the middle of the season is a bit weird as well. But yeah, it's as I said, it's when I get back to Villa, obviously I got a week, 2 weeks off now just to sort of regroup and recover, and then when you get back to Villa, it's back to work. Yeah, and looking forward to that as well.
Your first game back is Liverpool, isn't it?
Yeah, Boxing Day, Liverpool. Yeah.
Oh, so, lovely.
Hopefully we can continue the run that we ended on, because we obviously came into the World Cup break on the back of 2 wins and 2 good performances. So hopefully we can pick it up when we get back.
A nice easy break. You go from Mbappe to Diaz running at you.
I know, yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Now I've sort of played against them top players. I'm looking forward to playing against even more top players, which I do week in, week out in the Premier League anyway. So, as you said, Liverpool are right up there. So, be another good challenge.
I'm just going to finish with, may as well tell the listeners, Matty, you and I were having a chat down at Brighton, weren't we? Just before you left, because you were down there with Villa. And I was wishing you well. And I said at the time to some of the people around us, Alexis McAllister was there. Of course, he's still out there with Argentina. But you were like a kid, Matty, on Christmas morning. You couldn't wait to get out there to Qatar. Was it everything you hoped it would be and more?
Yeah, it was more, to be honest, I think. Yeah, it was more from what I've sort of learned and gained in the last couple of weeks. It was more than what I obviously knew it was going to be amazing, but it was more than what I thought it was. And as I said, I come up against the likes of Messi and Mbappe, which is for a young, growing player like me is fantastic, isn't it? So it was more, to be honest. Yeah, as I said, I've learned so much over the last couple of weeks and gained experience and gained loads of different things. So it was definitely more than what I thought.
He's in Doha for us this afternoon. Hi again, Rob. We'll get to Walker and his battle with Mbappe shortly, but first, tell us some team news. Declan Rice missed training today, didn't he? Should we be worried?
Yeah, I think we should be worried. I think Gareth Southgate will be worried. And if you put it into a wider context, Jules, this is a bit of a concern for England, who are facing something of a depleted squad right now. Remember, Ben White returned home last week because of personal reasons and won't be rejoining the squad. Raheem Sterling is still in London right now, or just outside London in truth, with his family after they had a break-in at home, and we don't yet know if and when he will return to the England squad. And then today we saw that Callum Wilson missed training again because he's nursing what has been described to us as a minor strain, but that's the last 2 proper training sessions that he's missed now. There was a game in between as well, so he's been suffering with that for some time. And add on top of that, probably the most significant and the most worrying about all of those is Declan Rice, who missed training today because of what was described to us as an illness. Now, an illness can be many things, can't it? Gareth Southgate and Rice himself will be hoping it's not too serious and they can get back out on the grass tomorrow. That one, by the way, is behind closed doors. It's away from the cameras, so we won't know if Declan Rice is back in training tomorrow. And the significance here is the fact that today was the first of 3 full days of training that England have to prepare for that huge game against France in the quarter-final on Saturday. Declan Rice has missed the first one. They'll be really hoping he doesn't miss the second. And as if to compound it all, another bit of bad news for England today. Kylian Mbappe, who missed training with France yesterday, he's back out on the grass today. We're not seeing him because they're doing a session behind closed doors, but any concerns over his health and fitness seem to have been answered by the French FA. Now, he's done it before, and he's done it to some pretty good effect when he's played for Manchester City against Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League. He's played against Mbappe 4 times, Kyle Walker, so he's got the experience. He knows what it takes to try and stop him. But this was some performance from Kyle Walker inside the England media conference room here in Al Wakra today. If he performs half as well as that on the pitch on Saturday, England fans need not be worried, because Mbappe isn't going to get a sniff. The way Walker spoke today, it was Churchillian-like in its rallying cry to the rest of the squad and to England's fans that he can do his best to deal with Mbappe, and England should do their best to cope with the best of the rest that France can throw at them. Here, I give you, ladies and gentlemen, Kyle Walker.
The game's not England v Mbappe, the game's England v France. As I just said there, we take respect that he's a good player in good form at the minute, but I'm not going to roll out a red carpet for him and tell him to go and score. You know, I'm representing my country at a quarter-final of a World Cup, so it's do or die, really. You know, if we lose, we go home, and you know he's not going to stand in my way, and hopefully winning, you know, a World Cup for my country. I think when we've played them the 4 times in the Champions League for Manchester City, you're not just thinking about Mbappe, and I think it's exactly the same on Saturday. You're not just thinking about Mbappe. Okay, he's a tool that they've got in their armoury that's very good, but there is other good players, and we can't underestimate them players that, you know, have won big titles, won World Cups. So, okay, he's a great player. We all know that. That's why all the questions are about him. But let's not forget Giroud, who scored countless goals for France and in the Premier League. Dembele, who's, you know, for me, just as good on the other wing, and a very tricky player. And then you've got Griezmann and stuff like this, that these players can cause you a problem. So, okay, we take her out to him. He's a great player, but for me, all the questions probably shouldn't be about him. We should appreciate that we're seeing a great footballer, but there is other players as well.